Hey, if you're watching this episode of Paradise on Earth, then you probably just watched our Phantom Menace retrospective, if you will. I am here, of course, Joseph. I am joined once again by Mr. Brad Mamajama himself, Brad Leonard. We're doing a prequels retrospective, and we're talking Attack of the Clones.
Ooh, my favorite love story.
AOTC.
AOCT.
AOC.
Put AOC in Star Wars. Why not?
Who would she play?
Probably some kind of politician.
Probably, yeah. That makes sense.
Some people would want her to die in Alderaan. I'm like, okay, you're getting too deep. Oh, yeah, we're talking Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
I mean, how do you feel about Attack of the Clones, first
Attack of the Clones is my second favorite Star Wars prequel. Yeah.
You had me for a second. I was like,
I feel as though Attack of the Clones, when I was a kid, it was everything I wanted to see. It was just a bunch of guys hitting lightsabers together. And as I said in the Phantom Menace episode, we didn't get enough of that in Phantom Menace, and so now we're finally getting the lightsabers.
We're getting our fill.
This is where all the characters sort of become the characters that we kind of know and love.
Absolutely, 100%.
What about you?
I love all of them, but this one's in terms of like which is it my favorite prequel? No, but I think I'm with you actually. I think it's the second favorite prequel. Okay, right in the middle. It's got pretty much everything a movie should have. It's got action, it's got comedy, it's got romance.
Yes, it's got a 50s diner.
It does have a 50s diner with the best chef, head cook, line cook you could ever conjure in a universe. Yeah. Dex. We stand Dex.
Yes, we do. We love our Star Wars characters with more than two arms.
Yes. We talked about this in the last episode in Lego Star Wars video game.
That's right.
Yeah, Dex's Diner is like home base.
That's right. It's like kind of the landing page.
Yes. And that's where you select your episodes and whatnot to play. It's a great time.
It is. It's a fine movie. It has problems, as every movie does, but it's it works. I think. It works.
It launched Hayden Christensen's career, I think, or at least it launched him to superstardom.
Yes,
for a moment in time.
He decided to not take the superstardom.
I mean, he tried his best. There was Jumper. It took me about 20 years to see I only would ever watch the first half hour of it and then go do something else.
I've never seen it, so you're doing more than me.
It's a fun concept. I think it's based off of a comic book or something.
Yeah.
It's a fun concept, but it just enters into this secret organization assassinate other people with powers thing real quick.
There was Jumper and there was Push, and I always got those two confused.
Oh, Push. What was that?
Or is it Push or Pusher or something like that? I don't know.
What was Push Dakota Fanning and somebody, or
maybe
Chris Evans
was Chris
or something?
Evans in it? Yeah,
that sounds right. Yeah, I did not see that one.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, Chris Evans, he's never gonna make it.
That guy can't act. What is he doing? He was in the Fantastic Four. No way.
The Not Another Teen
in a
movie
superhero
guy?
movie.
Come on. Fucking
idiot.
sideburns. No, and then he's now he's just rich as fuck.
Good for him.
Good for him. I hope he gets a Star Wars.
Ooh, I don't think he'll take it. Do you think he'll take it?
I actually have read interviews that I believe he said he would take it.
He said he would take it?
If at the very least, it might be one of those if the story or the character's right.
They always say that.
They always say it, but you can hope.
Speaking of always saying that, we didn't talk about in the Phantom Menace episode, Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu.
Oh my gosh.
Arguably the best casting in a Star Wars.
Absolutely.
He's always threatening to come back as Mace Windu.
Oh my god, I would
love it.
I would love it too. And some people are like, fan service. I don't give a shit. I love it. I love the idea of him coming back.
Can he drop the one motherfucker in all of Star Wars? Can he just be the one to drop it?
I think he can. I think if anybody, he can get away with it.
He can get away with it.
I don't see Hayden Christensen getting away with, an MF.
Yeah.
I love that he has that engraved on his lightsaber.
Yeah,
the BMF.
that's right.
That's oh my god. I can't. Do you know how he got to be in Star Wars? He just kind of told George Lucas, like, I want to be in Star Wars.
I want to be in Star Wars,
like,
yeah.
But he was like, oh, like a stormtrooper, you know, something like, it doesn't have to be a thing. And then George Lucas made Mace Windu for him.
Right.
And then Samuel L. Jackson's doing Mace Windu, and they're like setting up lightsabers and stuff. And he's like, can I have a purple one? And George was like, yeah. Like, why not? You're Sam Jackson. Why not? And then that's
and he made histories though. I know there's like lore behind the purple lightsaber, like only certain people can wield it or something like that.
I've read it's like very like dark side heavy.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like if like, I don't know if it's like if you change this could go south, or like this is gonna change you or something. But I read about it kind of recently in like a Wikipedia or something, but it comes from like not good things. Yeah, if I recall correctly.
But he famously yields the purple lightsaber, and he kicks ass with it. Even though I saw an interview with him where he was talking about how like all these Jedis, like, because they're not to spoil the movie if you haven't seen it, but there's a scene
20 years later,
right? There's a arena battle on Geonosis,
Geonosis, yeah.
And everyone's fighting and everybody's flipping, and Mace Windu is just kind of running like this. And Samuel L. Jackson was like, I didn't want to learn how to fight, so I just kind of made up my own moves. And I was like, I mean,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he was good enough to behead somebody. So
I was gonna say he got one of the best kills.
He did, dude. He cut it clean.
Yeah, like you don't come back from that.
Right.
Oh my god! And his kid had to watch that. That part's the only thing that kind of fucks me up. I'm like, oh, that's
yeah.
It explains why Boba becomes like a debatable like bad guy. I don't know what a bounty hunter would be considered honestly in that universe, but it's kind of like he could have been the other room.
Right.
But it's Boba. Also like, oh, that's dark and fucked up. I love it.
Poor Boba.
Poor guy. He has to grow up like a normal person. He doesn't have the enhancers.
Right. So this one, the plot kind of confused me as a kid. I know I said in the Phantom Menace episode that one kind of bored me as a kid, where this one kind of confused me as a kid.
Yeah, I think I had an inverted experience. I think the Phantom Menace kind of confused me more, just with like the politicians and the trade stuff, and it's like, what's an invasion?
Yeah.
Whereas this one's more like, it's like, okay, I get why. I was a little older when it came out, of course. Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I get why we're moving Padme. I get why she's being targeted. Yes. But like, is anything going to happen in this whole story? Like, there was the whole chase with Zam Wesell or whatever.
Yeah,
that was dope. Especially when they go to like there's like the chase and with the pods and the night cart and the nightclub.
Yes,
so all that stuff, and then pretty much the Geonosis factory. So everything in between that, there's not really much going on.
Right. So I believe, so the idea is that the Jedi Council hire the Kaminoans?
I don't know if it was the council as a whole. It was like Sifo-Dyas, who I don't know much about that guy, honestly. Yeah. But he commissioned the clones, and I believe Sifo-Dyas and Dooku were tight. I don't know if they were master and apprentice or anything, but I know Dooku was, I believe, also aware of the clones.
Yes.
But I'm very open to being wrong. Don't come for me, nerds.
And so they decide to base them off of Jango Fett, who is a Mandalorian bounty hunter, but is he a Mandalorian?
I don't think he is, actually.
I haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett, so I think I think they specify if he is a Mandalorian in it. But I don't know.
I think once him and the Mandalorian meet, I think they discuss like, are you a Mandalorian? Why are you wearing Mandalorian armor? I can't recall. Like, I actually don't remember if Boba Fett's an actual Mandalorian or not.
Because I think they say he's not a Mandalorian.
I'm pretty sure he's not.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Jango was either. I think he was just another. I think he was just a bounty hunter with Mandalorian armor.
Right. And so they get this guy, and they make 1 billion clones of him. Mm-hmm. And that they kind of like, okay, we'll use this as like an army.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like this is what's gonna defend the Republic against whatever.
The droid army?
Probably droids, but some kind of impending invasion. Then meanwhile, behind the scenes, it's just a pawn in Palpatine's plot to take over.
Right. And so Why do they capture Obi-Wan?
I think it's just because he was sneaking around.
Yeah.
Like, just because he was, like, there when he shouldn't have been.
Right, okay.
And then he gets captured. Dooku offers, like, him, like, hey, you can help if you want.
You want to be on the Sith?
It's either that or
die.
I gotta kill you. I don't even think he was really saying Sith. I think he was just like, do you want to help with this? Although it probably would have involved Sith-like activity. And then he's like, no, I'm a Jedi. I can't be swayed. That's not good. That should never happen.
Right.
So then he's like, okay, fuck you. You're going to die.
So he puts him in a big arena with crazy animals.
Crazy animals. You get this, like, rhino dinosaur looking thing. And you got, like, this spider cat.
Right. Weird looking animals.
Absolutely terrifying.
I remember, so there was a scene, I don't know if it's a scene or if it was like a promotional photo shoot or whatever, and it was like Anakin and he's holding his lightsaber, and I think he had a green lightsaber in this episode, correct?
He at one point is holding one,
yes. And Obi-Wan, he's standing, and then Padme, and she's got like a big scratch on her back, and she's kind of like bent over and holding her gun, and to my like 5-year-old brain, that was the sexiest thing I've ever seen. I was like, she is so fucking hot.
It's a real bad bitches only pose.
Yeah. Dude, she's bent over, her back is exposed, and she's just like holding her, she's wearing like all white, and she's kind of looking all sexy, and she's holding her gun. I'm just like, god damn.
It was definitely the best Padme ever looked.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, a little roughed up. It's like, oh, okay, Shorty gets dirty.
Damn.
All right.
Yeah.
I had an action figure of that exact, like, I mean, I had a shitload of action figures all throughout the prequels and whatever. But I did have that one of, like, that outfit, and I was like, ooh, this one's my favorite Padme.
It's better than the fucking red, big, like, white face. Like,
yeah, that's... In terms of action, actually, I don't think I ever had that one in any, like, action figure or Lego or anything.
Okay, yeah.
I have, like, every other one, though, like her on Tatooine.
What was her on Tatooine?
It was like a blue sweater with like a little bit of like a gray on it, and then she had like the typical braids and shit.
That's what's interesting about Star Wars is that like the costumes themselves are so iconic that like you know the person's look.
Oh, 100%. Like Princess Leia's buns,
Han Solo's vest.
Yeah, Vader's mask, which is like a little too specific to the thing.
Even
but
like Mace Windu's robes are like slightly different than Obi-Wan Kenobi's robes, and like
yeah, that's true.
If you saw them, like you could probably tell the difference.
For sure. Yeah, I love all the looks.
Yeah.
In the prequels, they're obviously like more exaggerated than like the originals, but like that's kind of what makes it fun. It's like, oh, this is what people did with all of their like money before it all went towards war.
Well, I know like that's a complaint about the prequels is that like everyone's wearing robes, and it's like, why is everyone wearing robes when like I think like what I've seen online is people say like Obi-Wan was wearing robes because he was hiding in the desert. Like, why is every other Jedi wearing robes? But that never didn't make sense to me.
No, I mean, I feel like in my head, robes were just kind of like a thing.
Yeah,
people wore like in space in Star Wars.
Right. Yeah, that's just what I thought. But apparently, that's like a weird thing to people.
It's silly to me because it's like name every other thing like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. Somebody in all of those things is wearing robes. Right. If not everybody.
Yeah. So I don't know why. I think people are just looking for things to.
Oh, the Star Wars people especially look for things to complain about. They're literally the worst fan base.
Yeah,
like
100%.
People who work in Star Wars, like actors, everything. They all say Star Wars is literally the worst fan base, and it's so bad. Especially with the most recent one was the Moses actress who is in Obi-Wan. She plays a Inquisitor. There was a backlash. There was racist tweets about her. She's a black actress. Okay, and she was great. It was so like unnecessary, but it's the same stuff that happened with like Rose and the sequels. Right. I think a little bit of Ahmed Best. I think he got backlash
he had a hard time after these movies.
Oh, he had the worst time. Oh my god. Yeah. I heard him on a podcast where they two comedians watched Star Wars for the first time. Yeah. In their season finale, they had Ahmed Best on as a guest, which was really fun. Yeah. And he talked. Oh my god. He talked about like being depressed and stuff, and how like all that backlash like sucked. But then like, as you probably have noticed throughout the years, now that all the people the kids who watch those movies have grown up into adulthood, now actually appreciate those movies. That's kind of how we got Obi-Wan, the TV show. He's like, no, I have a whole new like appreciation for it, and so do the bigger people like Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, which I love to hear.
Right. Not Jake Lloyd, apparently.
I mean, I believe this was before all the sequels came out when I first met him. Okay. So I feel like if he had just held out for a bit longer, he could have maybe made a dime. Right. doing whatever, really. Right. At least doing Celebration meet and greets and stuff, because there was the Celebration I went to. George Lucas's kid had a table there, and you could like meet him for whatever, $20-$30 or whatever. Right. I was like, that's interesting. If they can get him. Ahmed Best also told the funniest story. They'd already made Phantom Menace. Yeah. He's at Madison Square Garden with George Lucas and Natalie Portman. They're seeing Michael Jackson.
Oh, I think I heard this before.
Yes. They go and meet Michael Jackson through like this secret passage at Madison Square Garden. Yeah. George Lucas is like, "Oh, do you want to meet Michael Jackson?" To Ahmed Best and Natalie Portman. So they're all meeting Michael, and they're like, "Oh, nice to meet you." Yeah. And then George Lucas introduces Ahmed Best as like, "Oh, this is Jar Jar Binks," and Michael Jackson wanted to play Jar Jar Binks. Yeah. And at that time, Ahmed Best says, he tells the story better, obviously, but he's like, his voice changed after George said that. He just goes, "Oh."
It's like, this fucking
and it's like,
guy.
That's like Michael Jackson with a low voice. That's a scary thought.
Yeah. It's like, this fucking guy is playing my role.
Right. But that's
Jar Jar Binks, the most famous Star Wars role.
Right. I'm going to crush that role. Yeah. Poor guy.
We could do a whole episode on like roles that Michael Jackson wanted to play.
Oh, he wanted to do Jar Jar. He was trying to do Peter Pan for like decades.
He tried to buy Marvel because he wanted to play Spider-Man.
That's right. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was ambitious.
Too soon.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually one of his songs. Yeah. One of the last movies he like did that wasn't like This Is It or whatever. He played like some kind of like sun god or something, like really? Like the Teletubbies, like that, the baby, like something like that, where he was like a figure in the clouds. And
what was this in?
I don't even know the name of it.
I'll have to look that up.
It's please do, because it's like the most wackadoo looking movie. It's like not made. They're like, if I recall correctly, there's like nobody notable in it, and it wasn't like a feature film. Like it wasn't in theaters.
That's weird.
It's really weird.
Michael Jackson cameo?
Right, exactly. I'm like, how did you score that?
That's maybe his cousin.
I was gonna say, it must have been
throw me a bone.
It had to have been a favor, because I remember I was watching I just wasn't watching the movie on TV, but I was watching something like covering it, saying like, this is something weird that he did, and it just looked absolutely bonkers.
That's strange. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's kind of a weird dude.
Kind of.
I don't know.
But anyways, back to Star Wars.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Star Wars.
How do you feel about Count Dooku?
Count Dooku, I thought was pretty cool. Kind of old. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's nothing super special about him, really. I thought
not
he
really.
used a lot of Force lightning, which I thought was refreshing.
Yeah,
because we didn't see that with like Maul. We didn't really see that with Vader.
Right.
We didn't see that at all with Vader, actually. So yeah, that was like a new twist on it. Plus his lightsaber was like curved.
I always wanted a Count Dooku Lego.
Oh.
When I was a kid, I always wanted a Count Dooku Lego minifigure.
I may have had a couple.
You had a couple?
I had.
But like the original one, like the yellow one.
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Oh yeah.
No shit.
I've always been a Lego kid. I still am a Lego kid. Now that I have adult money, fuck.
Yeah.
I had a Lego Dooku. Same deal. Very old.
Yeah.
That was back when they made him yellow too. That was right before because they changed from yellow to flesh tone between 2 and 3.
Yes, they did.
Because I have sets from 3 too, and that's when they started doing flesh tones, and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dooku, very old. I adore Christopher Lee. He's anybody who's played like a Bond girl or Bond villain is like, they have my heart.
Yeah. Scaramanga.
Yes. Man knows his Bond movies. I love it.
I do.
You're a rare find these days.
I was gonna say I don't know if the microphones are picking up on this, but they've been playing, and they always play music at the storage unit, and they were playing the Duran Duran.
Oh, View to a Kill.
A View to a Kill.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't catch that. Oh my god, yeah, that's such a good Bond song. We'll save that for another podcast.
We will.
So we're gonna cover all 20-something Bond movies.
God damn, we have so many podcasts to do, Brad.
It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, shit.
Sounds good.
Tell me something about Star Wars.
Star Wars. In a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, George Lucas said,
Who's that?
This guy who made American Graffiti, kind of a dweeb.
Yeah.
But he's like, I got this idea, I'm gonna try it out, and it worked.
Look at that. This camera died, so I'm gonna go plug it in, and maybe we'll get some more battery before we do episode 3.
All right, sounds good.
Keep talking.
All right,
a lot of this.
For sure. Episode 2.
How do you feel about the Yoda Count Dooku fight?
The Yoda and Count Dooku fight, I thought was. I really enjoyed the Yoda Count Dooku fight. I remember my friend saw the movie before I did and told me about it, and I was like, it's not that I didn't believe him, it's just I was like, I couldn't like imagine that. Like my brain wasn't capable of imagining such a vision. And then I saw it and went, oh my god, this is the wildest thing I've ever seen.
It's a very strange. So the fight starts. They're throwing rocks at each other.
Yes.
And Count Dooku is like, we're both so good at the Force that we can't force fight each other, so we got to fight with our lightsabers. And this is the first time that we see a mini lightsaber in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting too.
That was. And I was a big Yoda kid, so I was really excited when he had his own lightsaber.
Yeah, I've had plenty of like Yoda like toys and stuff, so that was huge for me. And just to see like him be so skilled too was even like more badass. It's like, he's the best Jedi.
He is. He truly is. But I think that's kind of takes away from the actual Yoda, because so I guess the idea of Yoda in Empire is that he's such a great Jedi, he's kind of past a lightsaber and he can lift an entire X-Wing with his mind. And so the idea is that now he has to use a lightsaber to fight. I know to a lot of people it's kind of like, that's not really a Yoda thing.
Yeah, I can see that argument. I guess at this point it's like, well, he's younger, he's more spry. Right. There's a lot of shit going down at this point, so... Yeah,
and he just shows up with an army of clone troopers.
Right, yeah, just like fucking, try me.
Yeah.
I'll fuck you up.
Fuck you up, I will.
And then he fucked up his coworkers.
What else about this movie? So they have the famous sand speech.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on sand?
I do enjoy a trip to the beach.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say how I feel about what Anakin says about sand, because like he lived on that planet, he lived on Tatooine with sand every day, all day. Right. So it's like, that's not my experience, it's his, so who am I to judge?
It's probably how they feel in Egypt.
Right, exactly. Like you can't love that all the time.
Right. So much so that you have to murder an entire race of indigenous people.
Yeah, that part was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
He just... I killed all of them, and the women and the children too. Like, whoa, okay.
And Padme was just like, let's
Padme
fuck.
was like, red flag, but I'm very horny right now.
Have you seen that robot chicken sketch where Padme is like we need to like non-sexual or something, and then she's like dancing, and then she's like,
I probably have. I love Robot Chicken, especially when they started doing all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are fucking hilarious. The Family Guy ones are funny too.
Yeah.
I love a parody.
I found the Tusken Raiders scary as a kid.
Oh, they're fucking terrifying. Yeah. They still are, honestly.
Yeah.
In Book of Boba Fett, you get a little more... he hangs out with Tusken Raiders at one point.
Yeah.
Boba Fett. So you get a little more like you get more knowledge of like, oh, what are they like? How are oh, they're just like us, kind of, but like they're still frightening to look at, and they sound absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Even the children are terrifying.
Well, and I didn't realize that they were people underneath like all the kind of wraps and everything.
Like in canon, or just like they're. Or like from a costume standpoint, like
no, like in canon, like I didn't realize that was like wrapped over their face. I thought they just looked like that.
I didn't know that either. Yeah, I thought that was just like an alien thing.
It's weird. I'm gonna look it up because I want to make sure I'm speaking accurately on what I'm thinking.
I'm sure half the things I've said about Star Wars have been wrong when we started doing these.
No, I don't want to read about Star Wars. I want to read about Tusken Raiders.
I want to read Star Wars. I want to watch Star Wars. I don't want to talk about Star Wars.
Okay, so see, they kind of just have a regular face underneath like the wraps.
Oh gosh, they got like a Freddy Krueger thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh god, frightening.
It's strange.
They're humanoid, at least, for sure.
Yeah, but it is a strange look and not very fun to look at.
No, not very fuckable.
No, I would say that the Tusken Raiders, I wouldn't say they're the least fuckable Star Wars character, but they're definitely up there.
They're up there. They probably got a hole.
They probably got a hole, you said?
They probably got a hole.
Yeah. They got children.
Yeah, some aliens probably don't have holes. Anyway, who's the most fuckable?
Natalie Portman.
Yes, 100%. That's the correct answer.
Right. What else happened in this movie? I don't know why I can't think of more things that happened in this movie.
Anakin loses an arm. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's sort of foreshadowing the fact that he's going to lose his entire body.
I would say so, yeah. Especially with it being his dominant hand.
Yes.
It's like, oh, this is really going to be hard for you.
Yes.
But they seem to get rebuilt pretty quick.
Oh, there's like a weird C-3PO subplot where he gets his body attached to a
him and a droid train. I think that was George being like, we need to make them do something.
Yeah.
So let's have them make a little chaos, I guess.
We didn't talk about this in episode 1. I didn't like the episode 1 C-3PO because he just looked weird.
Yeah, like in terms of like how he looked. Yeah, I cannot talk. It made me uneasy. It was like I can see everything.
Did he do anything in episode 1?
Not really. He carried Anakin's flag before the pod race. That was about it. Yeah. And then he didn't even leave this. He didn't even leave the planet.
Right.
They left his ass on Tatooine.
There was a gray C-3PO in it though, right?
That was TC-14.
Yes.
On the in the very first scene.
In the very first level of Lego Star Wars.
That's correct. Yes.
You get to play as TC-14.
Yes. TC-14,
I always hated playing as the droids.
Oh, the droid characters are the worst, especially like the stumpier ones.
Yes, that was always like a big issue between me and my cousins. Was like, who's playing the droid?
Right. Oh my god. I would hate. I never really played it multiplayer, thankfully.
Yeah. No, you made the right choice.
Yeah, this one R2-D2 flies.
R2-D2 does fly,
which I was like, okay, that's new.
Yeah, did he not fly in? He could have flown across Jabba's thing, and he could have just.
Yeah, he didn't have to just knock a C-3PO down and just chill out in the sand. He could have just hopped.
Yeah, could have done that.
C-3PO. There's a possibility C-3PO could have just like hung onto him, like kind of piggyback style. Yeah. But they may have.
But C-3PO's not the smartest droid.
Maybe his hydraulics were shot or something.
Yes.
Whatever hydraulics are.
What else about this movie? Like I said, it's not a bad one. It's not the worst of them, but also it's not the most interesting of them, which is.
No, I agree with you. I think it's one of the more boring ones.
Yeah. And I think it's called Attack of the Clones. The clones show up at the end, but also we have this TV show called Clone Wars.
Yes.
This movie could have been that, I think.
Yeah. It would have been nice to really see like a lot more of that content in that movie.
Right.
Like, it's tough though because it's like a lot of that wasn't necessarily George Lucas. That was Dave Filoni.
But it's like, so this movie is like the beginning of the Clone Wars. Episode 3 is like the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And so it's like we don't really get to see the Clone Wars unless you watch the show.
Right, which is unfair from a moviegoer's perspective. It's like, well, I don't want to watch it. Especially if you were a Star Wars fan like at that point when Clone Wars was coming out, and it's like, well, I don't want to watch Cartoon Network. I'm 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
That was actually me for a while.
I've still never seen it.
Oh yeah, I watched it on Netflix like 6-7 years ago, like for the first time, and then I've rewatched it maybe once or twice. Okay, it's a good time. Rebels I thought was really good too. Rebels is a lot shorter.
That's what I heard, but I haven't watched that one. I'm just kind of like, I'm at a point where I'm just like, I don't want more Star Wars.
That's fine. The fatigue is real for sure, especially with all the Disney shit.
I never watched The Mandalorian. I never saw Solo. I never watched. Because I was just like, none of this is like, it doesn't feel like Star Wars anymore.
No, that's fair. That's a lot of people's feelings, especially with all the newer stuff. Solo wasn't beloved, but it also didn't have the easiest production. Right. Like they changed directors halfway through production, which is never a good sign for any movie. Yeah. But they did their best. That's kind of how I feel about Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, all things considered, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I guess whenever we do episodes about like the later series, we could talk about that. But it just, I don't know. It's just frustrating. It is absolutely frustrating because sometimes it's like they miss the mark a little too much. It's like you didn't even try. Let's give our final thoughts on episode 2. And then all right. So we can go to episode 3, which I really want to talk about. Hell yeah, that's the one I was looking forward to. Yeah. Most. So do you have any final thoughts on episode 2? Should have had more Dex. We deserve more. We need more Dexter. Dex should have been in Obi-Wan and was not, dude. So I blame Kathleen Kennedy specifically for that. You fucking Mary. What is it, Mary Sue? I used to do a joke about Kathleen Kennedy. Not only doing stand-up, just like with my nerd friends. Like Trump called Whitmer that woman from Michigan. Yeah. I would call Kathleen that woman from Lucasfilm. I truly have nothing against this person I've never met. It's just like everyone seems to yell at her about not liking Star Wars stuff. She's been around Star Wars for a long time. Like I don't think people realize how long she's been like working on Star Wars. No, a lot of people act like she's like a new hire. Yeah. like she wasn't like to my knowledge, she wasn't a Disney thing, right? I don't believe so. No, I'm pretty sure she worked on Indiana Jones too, right? Yeah, I think so. So she's been around the block. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I have nothing against her. It's just I like making fun of angry Star Wars fans because there's a lot of them. They're a bunch of bitches. Seriously, it's and like, apparently really racist too. Have you heard that? Racist, yeah. Like the girl from Obi-Wan, the Moses girl. She got a lot of racist tweets and shit just for being a black actress. Right. Like totally unnecessary. And I know that, like, I saw a guy who was like a cosplayer, and he was saying that like the cosplay groups are like really racist. Cosplay, really? Yeah. That takes a lot of acceptance to take a cosplayer seriously. Yeah, that's like, very shocking. There are so few cosplayers, and you're going to be racist to the few people who choose to cosplay. Seriously, that's insane to me because that seems like a community that would be like way more like welcoming, right? You know, but at the same time, they're also Star Wars fans, so you really don't know what they're thinking. Fucking idiots. My thoughts on Star Wars fans is to go outside, touch grass, sons of bitches, get head. Yeah, lightsabers aren't real, you fucking morons. Lightsabers aren't real. Anything else? No, that's all I have. Just bring back more Dex. More Dexter Jetster. I just want a series taking place in that diner and just big hugs and butt cracks. I've always had this like it would never happen in a million years. Let's hear it. So Disney Plus original series. Yeah. Multicam, live studio audience, sitcom. It just takes place in like a bar or cantina in the Star Wars world. That'd be so fun. We don't have any Star Wars comedies. Exactly, and it has nothing to do with like the Skywalkers or like Jedis or like Imperial or Republic anything. It's just a slice of life. like sitcom.
Let's just have a fun Star Wars thing that doesn't have anything to do with the Star Wars.
No, once in a while, like a Jedi might come in or a stormtrooper, but other than that, no. It's just a slice of life in the Star Wars universe that's not focused on war.
Come on, Bob Iger, if you're still in charge of Disney, make that.
I'm trying to remember the guy who was before Michael Eisner.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. Make that show.
Come on, Mike and Bob. Come on now.
Come on, guys.
I've got a $1 billion idea. Every sitcom's made $1 billion.
Everyone would love that. Star Wars fans would love that. Regular people would love that.
I will be starring in it.
Brad will be starring in it. He'll play Ungo Platu.
Yes, I'm from the planet Stu John.
Yeah.
Same as Obi-Wan and Jon Stewart.
You kind of look like Obi-Wan.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's got to be the beard.
It is the beard. This movie also introduced Kit Fisto, who I'm a big fan of.
I wanted to bring up Kit Fisto earlier when you talked about Yoda, because I was like, have you ever seen him in 2 and him in 3?
His eyes, yeah.
He's seen some shit.
Kit Fisto got fucked up.
And it's funny because in 2 there's the scene where he like knocks over droid C-3PO.
And he's like, yes.
Yeah, him smiling actually like kind of creeped me out.
Yeah.
Even though it's only for like a second and it's like not at all a close-up shot, it was still like kind of like, oh, there's a person under there.
Right. But then in the Clone Wars, he's a complete badass.
Oh, he is a fucking G in the Clone Wars. And then he goes out pretty.
He goes out like a bitch, but we'll settle that later.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a week, in next week's episode.
One final thing I'll say is that like whenever I look at like behind the scenes footage or like you never think about how much of this movie isn't real.
Yeah, for sure. When we were first talking about like how do I feel about the prequels, and I was kind of like, well, they tried their best. That's kind of one of the factors that most of that movie was green or blue screen. Yeah, like they were working with literally nothing but a George and a script, and just like the best of their abilities, right.
So, and I mean, like some scenes you can tell, but most of the time you can't tell.
No, it's only certain scenes where you're like, their lighting in here is the lighting on that is trash. But
do you prefer that or like the new way that they're doing it with like the big screens?
I think if it looks real enough, I say go that way. And these big screens not only seem to do the job, but it sounds like that's the way they're doing these movies now, because I believe they've already shot a couple Marvel things on it too. Yeah,
they shot, I don't know if you've seen Thor Love and Thunder, but
not yet, but I'm going to.
There's 1 or 2 scenes in particular where if you see it you're like, okay, that's probably filmed on the screens.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like, you know, you can't, like, you know, it's not like you couldn't tell from watching it that it was filmed on the screens, but like it just kind of feels like, okay, this is probably shot in like a room somewhere.
Right. Yeah. This isn't on location.
Right.
A physical set. Yeah. I at the end of the day, I prefer a physical set, but if you need like digital elements,
yes,
do both.
Right.
Make the stuff that's close physical, like that table or that like crate of guns, you know, make that an actual thing,
right?
And then put everything in the background just like in a green screen. Yes. That I think is the best way to do it.
I agree, that is the best way to do it.
But I don't make film, so what do I know?
You'll get there. We'll get there.
We're gonna see.
We'll see how. I guess your opinion on episode 3 determines if you can make films or not.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out next week on Paradise on Earth.